Welcome to Turning Hard Times to Good Times. I am your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm talking to you from the borough of Queens. Here it is the 28th day of June, 2022. A very beautiful day, weather-wise, not so much in the markets in many regards anyway. Unless you're short, you might be doing pretty well today, but otherwise it's a pretty bloody day in the equity markets. I want to thank each of you for listening to this show and making it one of the more popular shows in the Voice America Business Channel. Also want to invite you to keep your questions, comments, whatever you have to say about this show, send them along to questionsfortaylor@gmail.com. Questions, the number 4, taylor@gmail.com. Also want to thank our sponsors making this show economically viable. This week's sponsors, Irving Resources, Novo Resources, Zelloro Resources, Core Asset Corp, SK Mining, Timberline Resources, Lion One Metals, and Reyna Gold Corp. I've titled today's show, How Are Those Sanctions Working Out, Mr. Biden? Today's guests are Robert Moriarty and Chen Lin returns, and then for the first time, Michael Spreadbarrow. He is the executive co-chairman of Novo Resources. He'll be with us to give us an update on Novo Resources in the second segment of today's show. On March 1, right after the Russian invasion into the Ukraine began, David Stockman said on this show, and I quote, "Sanctioning Russia and taking away their ability to use the SWIFT system would be crazy as hell because it will hurt Americans as much as it hurts Russia," end of quote. While President Biden blames Putin for inflation, truth be told, thanks to his energy policies and COVID-related supply chain shortages, as well as trillions of dollars of transfer payments to Americans, inflation was rising rapidly even before the Ukrainian war. But it wasn't Russia's invasion of the Ukraine per se that caused energy prices to rise still further. Rather, it was sanctions against Russia and disallowing Russia to use the SWIFT system, which then for international trade in dollars and euros, and that has dramatically cut the supplies of vital supplies has been cut to the West and has exacerbated inflation beyond COVID-related supply chain issues and those other factors that I just mentioned. Not only did those supplies dramatically reduce supplies of oil and gas, thus leading to the highest consumer inflation over 40 years, but they also forced Putin to tie the ruble to oil and gas and indirectly to gold. Since then, the ruble has been the strongest currency in the world. The post-1971 fiat petrodollar that enabled America to fund its empire through military force and subversive activities may be nearing an end because the laws of nature, as they apply to debt-GDP ratios, are driving America towards financial ruin, while our adversaries run their economies in a more responsible manner, I would argue. Well, Bob Moriarty will be here to share his views on why the Biden administration is engaging in all manner of what many think are anti-American policies, not only in the realm of foreign policy, but in other very important areas such as economics, energy, and healthcare. Bob may also have some ideas about who the actors are behind the curtain that are directing American policies. Michael Spreadbarrow will be with us in the second segment, as I mentioned, to give us an update on Novo Resources. But right now, I'm happy to tell you that Chen Lin is with me to give us his thoughts on the markets. To sign up for Chen Lin's letter, you need to go to chenpicks.com. chenpicks.com. Thanks for joining me, Chen.
Thank you, Jake. Glad to be back.
It's good to have you back, but, as soon as you come back, the markets take a nasty turn downwards. So maybe you should have stayed away for a while.
Oh yeah. I've been over the weekend. I heard the distress call from the trader actually in China on all the commodities. They're selling everything. There's a lot of funds that are just want to get out. So you can see not just copper was crashed, right? Zinc, everything was crashed. Even those rare to find commodity like tin got crashed. Even this week, cotton got crashed. Cotton, I mean, I thought consumer demand, goods was very strong. So it's really the pullback of the hedge fund, right? The funds who was riding with the wave. And now they want to out, and they found that the exit door is very narrow. So they were selling, as if there's no tomorrow. So they crash all the commodity. But however, if you compare this downturn versus the previous downturn, the inventory actually is very, very low. You look at the copper inventory, tin, zinc, as of tin, all the other commodities, the inventory is very, very low. So it's I expect the commodity bull market probably will continue. But we will just need to get off all this weekend, let those funds sell, and then let the real demand pick up.
Yeah, well, I'm hearing on the retail sector, though, Chen, there's a lot of excess inventory. A lot of companies like Walmart and others have built up their inventories after the supply chain issues following COVID, and now they're stuck with a lot of inventory. But of course, what you're saying is in the commodity sector, those are pretty low, those inventories. So I guess that would be bullish once the knife stops falling here.
Yeah, exactly. There were multiple factors. During COVID, there were huge multiple orders, right? Huge build of inventory at Walmart, Target, and then there also huge build of those COVID-related manufacturing facility, like for example LCD, the liquid crystal with display, chip supply. I mean, chip going to be surplus next year, believe it or not.
Wow.
And then there's also these things. I point out a few in my recent presentation at the investment forum. But you look at for example, TV. I heard in China people start getting $150 to $200 for 55-inch 4K top line TV already like price. I'm pretty sure those will come, maybe sub 200. Here we a little bit more expensive, plus shipping, whatever. It will be, 200, maybe 200 in Black Friday. So if you want to buy, you hold off a little bit.
Interesting. Well, Chen, are you there, Chen?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. So commodities are looking pretty bleak. You're the biotech guy. What are your thoughts there in that sector?
Yeah, biotech is rather interesting, and we as I mentioned in my newsletter, we talked to our friend in Crescott, and they put some position in biotech, as you mentioned in their podcast. And right now it's looking really good. One of my key positions just exploded this week. They're going to get FDA approval. So it's hard to have a winners in this bleak market. And another company, very interesting, Tricida, TCDA. I mentioned in this news radio, on your radio show many times. It's my top position in biotech. It's one of the few stocks actually did well. It tripled since we talked last year. And then there is a fund called Venrock. They're just actively buying. You should look at the filing. They're buying as if there's no tomorrow. They're buying 100,000 to 200,000 per day. They're buying that. Interestingly, 95% of the flow are already held by institutions as of last quarter. So if they are buying, or if there's no other selling, I do not know. We'll see the filing at the end of this quarter, which is a few days from now. We could have a situation that institutions own more than 100% of the flow. That leaves all the shorts naked right there, sitting duck. So we'll see. We'll see the filing, of this quarter.
Very interesting. Well, that's a company that's addressing kidney disease, and I guess it looks like it's pretty likely that, from what I've heard you say in the past, Chen, you believe that it's highly likely it's going to get the approval it needs to move forward with the drug. Right,
and then the drug could be the biggest selling drug in the world. That the number one. So that's the upside. So the upside is tremendous, but you have to wait till the end of next year for that. But this year they will have a data. Q4 will have data likely in October. So we will have a key data that's proved they can, the effectiveness of this drug. So that will be the key moment. I expect stock to go up much higher from here. And then for my subscribers, I was talking about, and then your audience were talking, when they have a big pop like that, you take some off and run with the house money. So we're getting very close. So now it's end of June. We're talking on data by the end of October. They officially decided it's Q4, but I believe it's by the end of October based on, the management, conversation with the management.
Very good. And I'm looking today with the weakness in the market. It's down 92 cents today to $9.72. So if people want to keep some dry powder and keep their eyes on this one, timing for Tricida, Chen, how sensitive is it? Do people need to jump in today, tomorrow, or do they have some time?
You have some time. You just watch the filing. You see that fund, Venrock, just buying almost every day. So eventually, the weekend who want to sell will dry up, right?
Right.
I mean, they are over 10%. They will likely go to 19.9%. Usually we'll see the fund when they buy like this. Sometimes they can get over that because they have multiple funds. So there's just not a lot of share out there, loose share out there anymore. So that will set up a very interesting situation before the data come out.
Well, those interesting situations, Chen keeps his subscribers alert to. So those of you who might be serious, consider yourself serious investors, might want to check Chen's work out. ChenPicks.com is the place to go to sign up for Chen's letter. Chen, thank you so much for being with us today. Always great to hear your thoughts on the markets. Always very valuable information. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Jay.